We got to start with the championship leaders currently, the McLaren team, Coops. They're obviously looking strong. They've got a dominant car for the year so far. Is it likely that they're just going to go and romp off into the distance and continue their dominance throughout the season and starting off with Japan?
I don't think they're going to be romping away with it, but I think they're definitely the team to beat. I mean, as much as they are the team to beat and they have the kind of the dominant car, for want of a better term, it's not a Red Bull Max Verstappen domination from a couple of seasons back. You know, when he,
Mm.
I think it was 19 from 22 that he won or something that
Uh-huh.
year. We're not talking that sort of domination, but yeah, certainly if they're not in amongst the top three, top four, then either something seriously went wrong or one of the two drivers has made a mistake in qualifying.
Yeah, I suppose the difference between that year, even if it was such a dominant car, is they've got two drivers that are competing with each other rather than one driver just running away with it. Um, Timo, the McLaren boys, they're really impressive this year so far, aren't they? Obviously, a few minor mistakes here and there, but other than that, the car's been really, really strong for them, and they've optimized mostly for points wise where they can, obviously barring the couple of mistakes that we've seen. So, what are your thoughts on the two McLaren drivers?
Yeah, echo you and Coops there, to be honest. I think, like you say, the only mistakes have come from bad luck more than anything else. I think you
Mm.
can't do much about rain, you can't do much about your brake pedal just deciding to not play ball with you. So it's
Yeah.
it's one of those things, and you think if you're them, that's hopefully for that from their perspective, their bad luck out of the way for the season. For every other team, they're probably hoping that not to be the case. And coming into this weekend, a little bit as you could already tell from the first two Grand Prix, their biggest rivals might be each other. And depending on how qualifying goes, depending on how the race unfolds, we might get to see a bit more of that and how effective the team will be in deploying papaya rules and if anyone actually wants to play by those.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. And it's too early in the season to have too many papaya rules at this
We
point,
thought
I
we thought
think.
that in Australia.
Yeah, but I completely understand the reason in Australia. It was, the weather was changeable, and they were going through back markers, so hold stations until you clear them, and then battle. I can see that, in a corner where three cars can't go side by side. It makes sense to make sure you just get your drivers through the risky bits, I guess. So I can see why they employed papaya rules at that point. But hopefully they won't interfere too much in the race weekend this weekend as we head to Japan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri can do. I think Lando Norris has just got the edge. I know obviously Oscar won the race in China ahead of Lando Norris. I just think Lando's got a cooler, calmer head on him this year. What I've seen so far, obviously we're only three races in now, so we haven't seen a lot. But from what I've seen, I'm quite impressed with how he's kind of come away from the sport in 2024, coming away from the slight loss to Max Verstappen and just missing out on the championship. It looks like he's gone away. He's really kind of put himself into the right headspace to attack the season, and I think that will take him and give him the edge over the course of the season. I'm hoping. I think so anyway, and I think he might just pip Oscar in the points this season. Whether that means he'll get the championship or not, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I think he'll pip Oscar to the points myself personally. Coops, out of the two, who would you pick to kind of win this race? Is this more an Oscar track? Is this more an Orlando track? Or is it toss a coin and just have a guess at this point?
You know, it's an Oscar track. I mean, he's won at it already, albeit it's a
Mm,
sprint, but he's won at it. I
yeah.
think it was his first kind of pole, if I remember right.
But if you
Um,
remember right, they employed some kind of papaya rules in that situation, wasn't it? Hold stations, Lando, you can't attack. Let's keep the drivers 1-2 at this point.
yeah, but he put himself in front.
Yeah.
You have to get there first. And I kind of disagree with you a wee bit that I think that you think that Norris is a wee bit calmer because I don't think so. I
Okay, no, that's
mean,
fine.
you look at Oscar when he won, and you're like, oh, well done, that's your first Grand Prix win. Ah, cheers, mate. You know, it was as if he was just coming back for a wee drive down to Tesco's to get milk. You know, you were like, all right, okay, cool, no worries, mate. That's aye, awesome. He's just he exudes calmness. Does Oscar, and I've yet to see him make an out and out error when it comes to being at the front and doing things. I mean, there may be some nuances and he may just sometimes not quite get the balance right because he is a novice again, if you compare him to Norris.
Mm.
But Norris has made some mistakes that are quite obvious, whether it be putting a wheel off the track and or losing at the start or not starting as fast as they should. The points he should have got last year from the positions he was in to the wee errors he made at the start of the races. I just think that Oscar's just got that wee bit extra on Norris.
Okay.
And I think Oscar will win it over the stretch.
Timo, can you pick a side? Who would you put your money on if you had a £5 note and a bookmaker in front of you now? Would you say Lando Norris to win the inter-team battle? We won't say championship at this point; it's too early. But the intra-team battle between the McLarens, or would you
It
say
depends on which
Oscar?
Lando Norris we get most over the course of the season. If we get the version from Australia, then I'd say Lando. But if we get the version of him from China, then I've got to say Oscar. Whereas Oscar's been Oscar the whole time.
We don't take fence sitters on this podcast. I'm sorry, you've got to
No,
pick
no,
one.
I'm gonna choose. Don't worry. I was just saying it depends on which one of those we get. And from that basis, I've kind of got to go with Oscar because Lando, I think, has learnt a bit from last year. He reminds me of Charles from last year, taking lessons from the couple of years previous in terms of how he controlled that race in Australia and didn't let Verstappen get to him. But Piastri, he did make that mistake, but that means he's even hungrier now to make up that points deficit to get back to where he knows he should be and where he deserves to be, so he can afford to take a couple of risks. But Lando can't if he wants to do it, because if Lando wants to stay where he is and keep that going, he's got to play it a little bit safer. If he makes a mistake, he's back there with Oscar, which works for Oscar. Oscar can make it work, or he can hope that Lando makes a mistake. Lando can't afford to make a mistake, so I think there's room for mind games into team battles. Mark Webber's probably taught him a thing or two on how to handle a teammate that's a bit stressful to deal with at times. And I think that not that Lando's old by any stretch of the imagination, but Oscar's got that youthful rawness to him still. He's only in his third full season. So
Mm.
he's still going for it. So I'd like it to be him. I just think that calm, cool atmosphere that Coops was mentioning there, when he wins, he's just kind of like, yep, that was the plan, so now I'm going to do it. I'll be happy when I win the championship. It's very Kimi Räikkönen-esque, and I'm on board with that.
Yeah, fair enough. So it's 2-1 there. What do you think? Our listeners, obviously, let us know in the comments who you think will win the inter-team battle this year. Do you side with Lando or do you side with Oscar Piastri? Obviously, we won't find out until the end. I'm happy to kind of let us see how it unfolds as we watch the racing on our screens, or if you're lucky enough to head to a track on the track itself. But yeah, that battle continues.